Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So today what I want to do is take apart this large compressor. It was given to me by a friend and co-worker. Shout out to Liz Sankey and family. Thank you for that. Liz is an educational assistant at the school I work at, and I want to take an extra minute to thank all CUPE members, office staff, secretaries, IT members, custodians, educational assistants, early childhood educators, and anyone else that falls under the umbrella of CUPE. Thank you for all that you do to help support the school, the staff, the children, helping it run smoothly and safely. So thank you all CUPE members, and thank you again, especially Liz, for this. Compressors are an excellent source of scrappable material. There is a lot of tin on these, tons of brass, some copper, and they are almost 100% scrappable. The nice thing about this one actually is it is extremely heavy as well. This one weighs 30 pounds as is. This large one weighs 45 pounds. So lots of scrappable material here. Going to show you how to identify the material and, more importantly, how to separate it properly, maximize your profit, and divert almost the entire thing away from the landfill. So this one right here, not going to focus much on it. I do have a video on a similar type of compressor, so I will include the description and link to that one below in the description. The one interesting thing I do want to mention about this one is that there are a couple gauges on this, and both of these gauges, once I unscrew them, they too have a little bit of brass on them. This glass case on this one actually was destroyed, so that could have been a reason why it was malfunctioning, as well as there is a tear in the cord. But they do have some nice brass on these as well. The rest of this, great item. The base here, the yellow part, is going to be tin, which is going for about 8 cents a pound. There is a beautiful copper motor right here, so some number 2 copper at $4.39 a pound for that, as well as some really nice brass here on the nozzle here, a lot of cast aluminum as well. And again, this entire thing is going to be diverted from the landfill. So again, take a look. If you're interested in that video, it is going to be down in the description. This one right here does have a lot of great components on it, and I have actually not had one this heavy. So a great item. You do find them sometimes on garbage day. People have them at their house. The yellow one that you just saw, I actually found at a job site, so the construction men threw it in the dumpster, so a great find for me as well. The only thing on this one that is going to be waste, unfortunately, is this plastic cover. Unfortunately, where I live here, they do not have a processing facility that will tackle this type of plastic. Some viewers have actually said, especially out east, that they could actually bring this to the scrapyard and they will get paid per weight as well for plastic. So unfortunately, on southwestern Ontario, we don't have that, but would love to see that get put in place, because this could very well be diverted from the landfill if we had the means for it, as well as the facility. So awesome if you can do that. You do have to depend or do have to contact your scrapyard to see. But here, this is garbage. Some really interesting pieces on this. You can see right here, there is a very nice large motor. And for the sake of time, I did go ahead and remove some of the outer screws. They were hard to get at. Once I removed the plastic, it was easy to do, but just so I can move this around easily. The one part that I want to actually start on is the control dial here, just pulling this box off. What's interesting about this is there is a brass lever here that goes up and down, and underneath there is actually going to be some silver contacts. So there is also some silver on this one. Just going to remove the last screw here. I do also have to go ahead and remove some of the wiring just to bring this up to the camera. So this wiring right here that you see, this is going to be actually classified as 60% appliance wire. This wire, as you can see inside, that is copper. Wire at a scrapyard is classified into 40% appliance wire and 60% appliance wire. And it all depends on copper to plastic ratio and copper recovery. Because there is only one layer of plastic here, there is more copper recovery. So this right now is actually going for $2.19 a pound. So you do see some of it that I've cut off right here. Inside of this dial here, just going to turn this to the camera. You can see right here, there are a couple of pieces of brass as well as some levers there. And those levers, once I actually pull them up, which I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to take a pair of safety glasses, just going to see if I can actually pry it up. There it is. You can see right there, that little dot there does have a trace of silver on it. So there's going to be a little silver on both of them. And what I do underneath, there's actually 4 points here that are going to have silver. Some of it is connected with brass, some of it is copper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off that little piece of brass. I will put it into a little container to hopefully one day refine it. The rest of that copper is going to go into my number 1 copper, which is going right now for $4.68 a pound. The brass that you see there on the prongs, that is all yellow brass. Throughout this, there's yellow brass, and currently yellow brass is going for $3 a pound. So excellent item. Scrap, copper, as I said, copper in the scrapper's world is going to be our scrapper's gold. So the more copper on here, obviously the better value this is going to be to take apart. And what's interesting about this one, I just actually removed the wire. This, as I said, is going to be your appliance wire. This, because it has 3 prongs of, or 3 wires there that are coated with plastic, as well as an additional coating of plastic. There is higher plastic, less copper recovery. So this right now is going to be your 40% appliance wire. And even this is a great price. Currently, this is $1.35 a pound. There is definitely over a pound here, so a great item as well. Some people will take the brass prongs off. Some will leave them on for the weight. I do pull these off. These are coated brass. I still put them into a container. I will have a large load. I don't have to worry about separating these coated brass from the yellow brass. It's the same price, same pile. So I do pull them off. Again, it all depends on you. I haven't really seen a huge difference with price difference, but as I accumulate a large pile of prongs, it is definitely going to add up. So depends on how much you have for sure, but some 40% appliance wire, nice heavy thick cord. Underneath here, I have right here a magnet that I'm going to just put up to it. And as you can see, I do hold all my bolts. These are the bolts that came off of that dial there, off of the base of this. I will throw these into my tin pile. Tin right now is going for about 9 cents a pound. And I do want to answer a question I had from one of my viewers about bolts and screws and the difference between tin and steel. Steel at a scrapyard, it depends on the thickness of the metal. In order to be classified as steel, the metal has to be thicker than 1/4 inch. So these bolts, I could actually just throw into my steel. Steel is usually about 2 or 3 cents more than tin. However, I don't get a lot of steel. Steel usually pertains to things like structural beams, I-beams, trampoline poles, support poles, different things thicker like that. So I don't get a lot of it. It's easier for me to just make one large load, throw it into my tin. Tin is going to be a lot of your stuff like your outer shells of appliances, some large, smaller screws, for example, little things like this. You're going to see this is hollow, so this will be tin as well. So very easy to build up weight. Great value right now for tin or shred in some places, as well as steel, but that is the difference. So yes, this would be classified as steel, but I don't have enough of it. I just throw it all into a large bucket like this. There's going to be easily 13, 14 pounds of just screws that I take off from scrapping, easily to transport them safely, effectively, and I will bring this in and get my tin value for this. So screws, even though they could be small, they are definitely a good piece of scrappable material, and you do get quite a bit of them for sure. The rest of this outer case, however, this here is going to be cast aluminum, and there is some brass on here right on the bottom. So you do want to check. Just going to quickly unscrew that, okay? Easy to do. Want to start here, pull it off. Okay, just unscrews, as I said. Sometimes they can be a little bit stuck, but I am tough just like them. So there you go. You do want to make sure you check. You can see there is a metallic pin in this. If I was to bring this in as is, I'm going to get dirty brass price because there is some metal on here, some tin. There is probably going to be a little ring of tin inside of there, sometimes a spring. So I will, and actually you can see it through the hole there. So if I was to bring this in as is, I'm going to get downgraded tremendously. I'll probably get only about 16 cents for this a pound. So very easy to do. All I do is actually just take a grinder. I will grind this, split it in half, pull out the pin, and then I have my yellow brass. So going from 16 cents a pound to $3 a pound in the matter of 30 seconds, well worth my time, and it does not take much of my grinding wheels. So you do want to get that brass. This is, as I said, going to be cast aluminum. Cast aluminum right now is going for about 50 cents a pound. So a lot of your frying pans, different items like this. So this too can just be unscrewed. You can see it is coming off right there. So just have to toy with it a little bit. Again, 56 cents a pound. Okay, there are little pieces. Cast aluminum is non-magnetic. So just going to show you. Okay, there is right here. Unfortunately, there is a bolt there. As you can see, this bolt is magnetic. So if I can't get this out, I will just throw this into my dirty cast, get about 12, 15 cents a pound. A little bit better than tin, but if I can pull out that bolt, I will, and upgrade this to clean cast aluminum. So again, it depends on the type of material you have for sure. Clean is better than dirty for sure. You want to make sure there are no magnetic pieces to this, but a little bit of cast aluminum here. What's interesting about this one too is you can see right here, there is a nozzle, a hose. Just going to actually unscrew this one right here. First, I want to get to this one. Okay, this motor is going to be my money maker in a second, but just want to pull this out. Okay, going to unscrew this. And what's interesting about this hose is actually copper. Okay, so just unscrewing it right now. Coming out, there we go. Feed it around this handle. Okay, hopefully it's got some type of connector to it. And I'm actually just going to bend it off, hopefully. Unfortunately, I am going to have to cut this just so I can reach around and get it. Copper is easy to cut through, which is great. Okay, but it is going to be very hard to pull out if I don't cut. There we go. I'm going to feed this through. There. So, interesting piece. This compressor is one of the first I've actually seen that has had copper pipes on it. Look at that. This I do have to remove. This is just going to slink off. This is actually going to be aluminum. Nope, this is metal. This is another piece of tin. Very easy to do. I'm just actually going to take my grinder, or if I really want to save my grinder, as you can see, it just unfolds. Look how easy that is. So a little bit more tin here, but some beautiful copper. I have scratched it. Look at that copper right there. So this is going to give me #1 copper price. And currently right now, $4.68 in London, Ontario. So an excellent piece of copper there. There are actually 2 pipes from this, which is awesome. And I have unfortunately seen a lot of people go into the scrap yards with a piece of clean copper like this, with a brass head on this, and expect copper weight price. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Here is one, for example, you see some beautiful copper on that, some brass. If I was to bring these in as is, I'm going to get brass price. So I'm going to get $3 for this instead of what could be brass $3 here. Cutting this piece off, I get #1, a little bit of #2 here, which is still a good price at $4.43 a pound. But this, as I said, easy to upgrade, as is this. So just cutting off that brass and that little piece of brass, removing this tin, this entire piece is heavy as is, and it's going to give me, as I said, $4.68. So easy to upgrade. Seen a lot of people don't do that, taking the time to do it, and you are killing or decreasing your profit by a lot. So little advice, little tips, hopefully that helps. here as well, this is off your control box. Here's another beautiful piece of number 1 copper that has the brass, so I do have to remove that. So really nice heavy pieces there. Here is my motor. Just gonna quickly cut off my wire. Okay, so again, this actually had 2 pieces of wire. Here is some more of my 40% appliance wire. And I do also want to address another question someone had. Is it better to remove this outer casing to upgrade to my 60% appliance wire? In my opinion, vacuum cleaners, these microwaves, dehumidifiers with the thick wire on the outside are not worth taking off, because if you strip the outer coating, yes, you increase the value of the 3 inner wires, but you are losing a lot of value from the weight of this. So not worth stripping. Just keep it at $1.35 or $1.35 a pound. Save yourself the time and keep the weight on there. So some beautiful copper wire, again, 40%. Here is some more on the motor here. On the motor, I did remove the back cover. I had to release the oil. Here is the casing to it. There is right here, if I put a magnet to it, you can see it too is cast aluminum. I do have to pull out this little pin. There was a little bit of oil, but the motor, I'm gonna move on to this in a second. Oh, little bit of brass right there as well. The rest of this is going to be tin, and I guarantee you there's about 27 pounds right here, or 26, 7 pounds right there of tin. Easy to put into my vehicle, and some great scrappable material. So last thing I want to look at, the money maker, is this motor here. Just going to remove the last couple screws to get this faceplate off, and they are large screws. Okay, sometimes they just take a little bit of time, but there you go, look at the size of those screws. A little bit more tin. Sometimes you are going to need a little bit of elbow grease or some pliers to pull these out, because they can be sticky. A little bit of cast on this motor too. Want to make sure I check if this motor is going to give me copper. Sometimes your motors, unfortunately, can be deceiving. Sometimes they look like copper. Just going to hit that, but they are actually aluminum. So I'm just going to knock this off here. There is another screw. Okay, this actually drives the fan here. Just going to hold it. I'll hopefully unscrew it off. Here it's coming. So I can get to the copper windings. Okay, just going to cut the rest of that just to get it out. Unfortunately, a little bit more plastic. But here is my copper wire motor. I'm going to get that out. There we go. Okay. And sometimes if it doesn't come out all the way, I might just have to hit the head again just to fit it out. There we go. Okay, so look at this beautiful copper wire. I am going to check, as I said, if I was to scratch this and it revealed a metallic look underneath, it's going to be aluminum windings. If I scratch it and it reveals, obviously, the copper look underneath, it is copper. So there you can see right there, I do have a little scratch you can see, but that is copper. So this copper right here, if I was to bring this motor in as is, I'm going to get motor weight price, and currently motor weight price is about 25 cents a pound. This motor is heavy. I guarantee this is over 12 pounds, but I'm going to get a lot more money from the copper, opening it up and taking that copper and getting number 2 copper wire. So I'm going to do that right now. Just to start, I do have other videos showing you how to remove all of the copper from this, so I will include that in the link. I do want to make sure I get this casing off first. This is another piece of cast aluminum. Okay, you do want to make sure it is non-magnetic. Put a magnet to it, easy to do. Got all my bolts. So all free of magnetic attraction except that little screw. Do want to get that screw off of there, but some more cast aluminum. This item here, has some motor on it. This I'm gonna get dirty cast price for it. I'm not even gonna bother taking this out, but this outer body is dirty cast. Here, there is right here that piece of brass I wanna take, but the rest of this, I'm gonna hold on to get my dirty brass for. This is easily 10 pounds right here, so a great piece as well. But my money maker, this, gonna start just taking a grinder, and all I'm gonna do is actually just grind down the windings. This might be a little bit too big for my grinder to handle today, but if not, if it doesn't work with that, I have used a hacksaw before. I have used a Sawzall, but just gonna start it for you. Put on my safety glasses. I have a grinder here, and I'm just gonna go around the windings. Look at that beautiful piece of copper, this ring. And just to weigh it for you, I have a scale right here. Just curiosity. Okay, I'm gonna turn that scale on. So number 2 copper, $4.43 a pound. Just there alone, I have 9 ounces. So the rest of this, very easy to do. All I'm gonna do is put it into my vise. I'm gonna hit that out with a punch. Okay, and what I will do after that is I will just feed the rest of it out. So not gonna do the whole thing. I'm just gonna include in my description the link to remove all sorts of different types of your copper windings from motors, because there are definitely different ones, but very easy, as you can see. Just gonna hit it out, get a bigger punch. There we go, take the big one. There it is. Okay, just hitting it out. The windings are not hard to come out, which is great. They just come out, sliding out. Okay, and then all I'm gonna do afterwards is turn it back over and just use leverage, and it will slide out for sure. All of this winding is gonna be number 2 copper. Doesn't matter how shiny it is. I've had someone ask me, can it not be number or bare bright? The answer is no. All of your windings like this, in order to be classified as bare bright, they have to be thicker than 16 gauge, which is the thickness of the lead of a pencil. All of these are not as thick as the lead of a pencil, so number 2 copper as well. They do have a little bit of paint on them, some glue. So number 2 copper, I'm not going to complain, but I will also in the bottom of my video put up the grand total of how much brass I have, how much copper. So great copper here. I will have probably over 1.5 pounds of copper just from this motor. I have a lot of my dirty cast here. I have lots of tin, tons of brass, some silver, and again, another great item diverted from the landfill. So these ones, if you can find these, for sure, a great gold mine, for sure. Any one of the compressors are an excellent scrappable item. So try and get your hands on them. You do find them often. Thank you again to Liz for this compressor. Thank you again to all QP members. Stay well, continue asking questions. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.